Hello, my dear students. Assalamu alaikum. How are you all? Hope all of you are hale and hearty by the grace of Almighty Allah. Today I am going to take a class on C Programming from Chapter 5 Programming Language. Let's start the class. Part 1 of C Programming. In this part, you will learn the basics of C Programming language. Introduction to C. C is a general-purpose, structured and high-level programming language developed by American computer scientist Dennis Ritchie at AT&T Bell Laboratories, USA between 1969 and 73. AT&T stands for American Telephone and Telegraph. The figure that you can see on your right is the famous personality Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie is known as the father of C language. It is one of the most popular computer languages today because of its structure, high-level abstraction, machine-independent features, etc. C was developed to overcome the problems of previous languages such as B, BCP, etc. Initially, C was developed to be used in Unix operating system. It inherits many features of previous languages such as B and BCP. It is one of the oldest programming languages in the world and used even today in colleges and universities around the world to introduce the students to computer programming. Feature of C. There are lots of features of C programming language. Among them, I am going to mention some of them. C is simple. C is a simple language in the sense that it provides a rich set of built-in functions and operators that can be used to write any complex program. C is portable. Unlike assembly and machine languages, C programs can run on different machines with some machine-specific changes. Therefore, C is a machine-independent language. C is called mid-level language. C is considered as a mid-level language because it supports the feature of both low-level and high-level languages. C program is converted into assembly code. It supports pointer arithmetic, which is a feature of low-level language, but it is machine independent, which is a feature of high-level language. C is structured. Structure means to break a program into parts or blocks so that it may be easy to understand. In C language, we break the program into parts using functions. It makes the program easier to understand and modify. C is rich in library function. C provides a lot of built-in functions that make the development fast. C is best for memory management. It supports the feature of dynamic memory allocation. In C language, we can free the allocated memory at any time by calling the free function. Use of C. There are lots of areas where C is used, and I am going to mention some of them. Operating systems. It is used to program operating systems kernel like Windows, Linux, etc., which is known as the central part of an operating system. Mobile phone. Mobile phone kernels are also written using this language. So, the smartphones which we have in our hands all the time are running on C kernel. Mobile applications. Languages like C++, C#, Object-Oriented C are derived from C and are used to make phone and web applications. Databases. Many popular databases like MySQL, Oracle Database, Microsoft SQL Server are written using this language. Embedded systems. Embedded systems like MP3 player, alarm clock, radio, microwave, coffee making machine, sensors in the car, etc. are coded and programmed in C. Now let's see C programming language timeline. Algol was developed in 1960 by International Group. BCPL was developed in 1967 by Martin Richards. Then B was developed in 1970 by Ken Thompson. Traditional C was developed in 1972 by Dennis Ritchie. KNRC was developed in 1978 by Ben Cannon and Dennis Ritchie. ANSI was developed in 1989 by ANSI Committee. And ANSI ISO C was developed in 1990 by ISO Committee. Now let's see how we write a program. To write a program, at first we define the number of steps that are needed to complete the task. Then we write the steps, which we call algorithm, in pseudocode or as a flowchart. Then translate the algorithm or flowchart into programming language. And finally try out the program and debug. Now, integrated development environment. An integrated development environment, or IDE, is a software package that makes it possible to edit, compile, link, execute, and debug a program without leaving the environment. Let's see the example of an IDE of Turbo C++. IDE of C Programming Languages. Borland Turbo C, Microsoft Visual C, Jortic C, Whatcom C, Dev C++, CodeBlocks, C-Lion, etc. Compile and run C program. To compile and run a C language program, you need a C compiler. To set up a C language compiler in your computer or laptop, there are two ways. Download a full-fledged IDE like Turbo C or Microsoft Visual C++, which comes along with a C language compiler. Or you may use any text editor to edit the program files and download C compiler separately. Using a Turbo C IDE. Step 1. Open Turbo C IDE, click on File, then click on New, as you see from the figure below. Step 2. Write the example as it is. Step 3. Click on Compile or press Alt F9 to compile the code. Step 4. Click on Run or press Ctrl F9 to run the code. Step 5. Output. See the output from Output window. Difference between compile and run. You must be thinking why it is a two-step process. First we compile the code and then we run the code. So, compilation is the process where the compiler checks whether the program is correct syntax-wise and there are no errors in the syntax. When we run a compiled program, then it actually executes the statements inside the main function. See a sample C program. In this program, the first line indicates comments. Then the second line indicates preprocessor directive or header file. Then third line indicates the main function, and then opening bracket, then a statement, and then closing bracket. Now see the structure of C program. Generally, a C program may have all these sections. like documentation section, link section, definition section, global declaration section, main function, and inside the main function there are local declarations, programming statements and expressions, and then some user-defined functions. Documentation section. The documentation section defines the set of comments. For example, it might be the name of the program or author and other details for future reference. Link section. The link section provides the instructions to the compiler to link functions from the system library. Definition section. In this section, we can define all symbolic constants. Global declaration section. In this section, we declare global variables. Main function section. The main function is where program execution begins. That's why every C program must have one main function. And the main function is divided into two parts, declaration part and execution part. Declaration part. In the declaration part, we declare all the variables that are used in the executable part. Executable part. In this executable part, the execution begins at the opening brace and ends at the closing brace. User-defined functions. In this section, the programmers may write different user-defined functions and their definitions. Let's see one example here. In this example, you can see the link section, global declaration, then function definition, main function, user-defined function. Now, I'm going to discuss some of the syntax rules for C language. Every C program must have only one main function. C is a case-sensitive language, so all C instructions must be written in lowercase letter. All C statements must end with a semicolon. While space is used in C to describe blanks and tabs. While space is required between keywords and identifiers. Variables, constants must be declared before use. Header files must be linked with include. If you use library functions, they must include their header files. You can write comments anywhere in the program. To add a single line comment, start it by adding 2 forward slashes followed by the comment. And to add multi-line comment, enclose it between slash, the star, your comments, the star, then slash. That's all for today. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel.